बृन्दस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरोः श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं श्रीकृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादान् सहगण ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च। हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधो दीनबंधो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कांता राधा कांता नमोस्तुते। तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। नमो महावदान्याय कृष्णप्रेमप्रदायिने कृष्णाय कृष्णचैतन्य नाम्ने गौरत्विषे नमः। पञ्चतत्त्वात्मकं कृष्णं भक्तरूपस्वरूपकं भक्तावतारं भक्ताख्यं नमामि भक्तशक्तिकं। श्रीकृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंदा श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौरभक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। जन्माद्यस्य यतोऽन्वयादितरतश्चार्थेषुभिज्ञस्वराट् तेने ब्रह्म हृदय आदिकवये मुह्यन्ति यत्सूरयः। तेजो वारिमृदां यथा विनिमयो यत्र त्रिसर्गो मृषा धाम्ना स्वेन सदा निरस्तकुहकं सत्यं परं धीमहि। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। स्वस्ति अस्तु विश्वस्य खलः प्रसीदतां ध्यायन्तु भूतानि शुभं मिथो धिया। मनश्च भद्रं भजतादधोक्षजे आवेश्यतां नो मतिरप्यहैतुकी। Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 9, Verse 19. So we have read Krishna's breaking the pot and then how he was bound by Mother Yashoda after a great effort and by the grace of Krishna. And that's why he got the name Damodar. So now in this sloka, Sukadeva Goswami explains the essence of this whole episode. Says evam samdarsita hi anga harina bhrityavashyata swavashena pi krishnena yasyedam seshwaram vashe. Sri Sukadeva said that, O king, in this way Sri Hari or Sri Krishna has demonstrated how he is subservient to his own servants, Bhrityavashyata. So aham bhakta paradhino. I am not Swadhina but Paradhina. I am under the control or dictate of my devotees. So here he has shown this. So in 9th canto we read in relationship with King Ambarish that how when Durvasa was running, being chased by the Sudarshan Chakra, nobody could help him including Vishnu. And Vishnu said, I cannot help. Why? Because aham bhakta paradhino asantra hi aswatantra iva dvija. That I am aswatantra, I am not swadhina, I am not independent, but I am under the control of my devotees, so it depends on Ambarish, only he can help you. So this is what is being described, that although he is swatantra, swavashena api krishnena, Krishna who is actually swatantra, he becomes paratantra. And although he is seshwaram vashayasya, that everybody including up to Shiva are under his control, yet he is under the control of Yashoda. All these big Ishwaras, big Devas, they cannot even come near Krishna. And here Yashoda was holding him by the ear and looking into his eyes and saying, why did you break the pot? And he was terrified. Right? Bhaya netra vivala. His eyes were chanchala, moving out of fear, because he didn't know maybe he'll get a spank. So Seshwaram Vase Yasya and Swavashena api, although he is fully independent, Ishvaraha Parama, Krishna, Supreme Ishvara, but he has shown that how he is under the dictate of his devotees. So Bhagavataha Param Param Aishwarye Sati api Prem Vashyata Nibandhanam Bandhanamidam Param Chamatkaritvad Bhushnam eva natu Dushnam itya. So although Bhagavan has the supreme Aishwarya, Aishwarya means the power to control. So Param Aishwarya, Param Param, beyond the beyond. So he is Prema Vashyata, yet he comes under the control of Prema, that is the power of Prema. Prema Vashyata Nibandhanam, Bandhanamidam. So this bandhana, this bondage, was because he was under the control of Yashoda's love. So this Param Chamatkari, this is the supreme Chamatkar, this is the most wonderful thing possible, that the supreme Ishvara becomes bound. And this bondage is his ornament and not a defect. Generally, if somebody is controlled by another person, then that is considered as something lacking in that person. Means he is not the best, because there is somebody else superior. After all, you are controlled by somebody who is superior to you. So he says that this is his bhushana, not a dushana. This is the ornament, this is the beauty of Krishna, and not a defect or a flaw or something missing in him. Evam harina swasya atma ramatve api bubhukshaya. So now he is showing that how his character changes from Aishwarya to Madhurya. What is the difference between Aishwarya and Madhurya? He is contrasting that. That when he is in his Aishwarya manifestation, then his Atmaram is completely satisfied. He is fully in peace. There are no desires, nothing. But here he says that he was hungry. So although he is Atmarama, Atmaram means Atmani eva ramate. Is Atmani who is just taking pleasure in one's own self, means doesn't need anything external. So but here he was so hungry that he broke the pot. Uncontrollable hunger. Purna kamatva api atriptya, and although he has no wish which is not fulfilled, he is aptkam or purnakam, but here he was atripta. He was already drinking the milk. When he woke up he was hungry, he went to his mother and he was drinking, but he was not satisfied. So one who is always satisfied, who is always purnakam, now he was apurnakam, atripta. Shuddha sattva swarupatva api kopena, and although his swarupa, his innate nature is shuddha sattva, where there is no negative emotion like anger, greed, lust, all these things, but he was angry. Out of anger only he broke the pot. Swarajya lakshmitva api chauryena, although he is the master of Lakshmi, he was stealing. So this is something inconceivable. That's why people cannot understand Krishna. When we think of God, when we think of somebody who is supreme, we think that he has all the opulence, he has nothing to gain. Kim devarayati na parameshwaraya. What can we give to you, O Parameshwara? You have everything. And here he is not that what you can give him, he himself is stealing. He is in so much need that he goes around stealing. He is not peaceful. So, Kotiswapi Mahamune Narayana Prashantatma Muktanam api Siddhanam. So it's very difficult to find one devotee of Narayana who is Prashantatma. And here Krishna, who is the boss, Narayana himself, he is not Prashanta, he is angry. So Mahakala Yamadi Bhaya Dattve api Bhaya Palayanabhyam. And although Mahakal and Yamaraj, they are terrified of him, yet he was running away out of fear himself, trying to protect. He was so terrified that he ran, that I should not be caught. So he was Bhaya and Palayan, fearing and running. Right? Flight, fright. This is the two characteristics. So he was not fighting, he was fright and run. Fight or flight. So he is frightened and flying away. So Bhaya Pralayanabhyam. Mano Agrayanatvapi Matra Balad Grahanena. He moves at the speed of mind. In fact, you cannot catch him even if you move at the speed of mind. Panthastu koti sats vatsar sampragamya vayoraphi yatha manaso muni pangavanam sopyastyat prapadasimni avichinta tattve govindamadi parsham tamham bhajam. Even if you move at the speed of the mind, you cannot catch him. But he was caught by Yashoda, who was little heavy, not so quick in running. She was not some Olympic athlete. So he got caught by her, Matra Balad Granina, forcefully. So Anandamayatvapi Dukkha Rodanena. And although he is Sachidananda Vigraha, he is the personification of Ananda, he was crying. He was feeling miserable, saying, please, please. So Dukkha Rodanena, he was not crying out of happiness. He was miserable. Sarva Vyapakatvapi Bandhanena. And although he is all pervading, he was bound. So by all this, what did he show? Bhakta Vashyata. This is the meaning that he is controlled by his devotees. That having all these qualities, he could not escape Yasona. Being all Vyapaka, running at the speed of mind, fully satisfied, all these things, still he was controlled by Yashoda. So this is the Bhakta Vashyata. So Bhaktan ne mohi bhanti bhanti nachayo. You see, in Ras Leela they sing this song that these devotees have made me dance in so many ways. So many devotees. Arjuna made him drive the chariot. He was sitting at night, guarding them. So washing the feet of Sudama. And all these gopis, they were making him bring, and it will come, bring my shoes, bring me this. We'll give you some sweet. Then when he brings, then they give him a flower. And he starts eating that. Then flower doesn't taste sweet. Then he says, what? This is not a sweet. He's so innocent. Then he spits it. And then they all laugh. So can you imagine? And this is supposed to be the Sahasra Sirsha Purusha Shastra singing Purushukta, all the Vedic Brahmana chanting. And he is eating some flower thinking this is some chocolate candy. So this is the meaning of Bhakta Vashyata. This is what Bhagavatam is teaching, that how God can be under the control of devotee. And by this we can understand the power of prema. So this is what Mahaprabhu came to teach. So he is the Mahavadanya avatar. He came to give this, not only teach but to give it. That prema by which he himself comes under control. He is giving the key to himself. He is giving his password or passcode. And this is how you can open my mystery. Right? It's so amazing actually that somebody is telling his own secret. It's like when Kurukshetra war began. So then Yudhishthira Maharaj, he dropped his helmet, his bow, everything, and he went to the other side. So everybody thought that he is going to surrender now. He said, forget about fighting. So he bowed down to the feet of Bhishma. And Bhishma, you have to bless. When somebody bows down, you give blessing. So he blessed him that Vijayi Bhava, you be victorious. See? He's standing there to fight and then he's saying, you be victorious. So he said, but how can I be victorious when you are on the chariot? Nobody can defeat you. So he's telling his own secret, how I can be killed. So he says, that is true. As long as I am in the chariot and I'm fighting, there is nobody who can defeat me. It's not possible. So then he said, then how you said Vijay Bhava? Then be victorious. So he says, but I will tell you the secret. He says, what is that? He says, if this Shikhandi comes in front of me, then I will stop shooting arrows. I said, why is that? What is so special about Shikhandi? He said, because Shikhandi is ending in long E. So now we are reading in Harinamath Vakrana. Words ending in long E, long I are feminine. So he says, I will not fight with him. I don't shoot arrows at ladies. He says, I am a Kshatriya. It's against my dharma. And then he said, still, if he comes and he's shooting arrows at me, his arrows cannot kill me. He also said that. He says, this Shikhandi, his arrows, they cannot pierce my body. So then what has to be done? He says, you tell Arjuna to be behind him and then shoot arrows and don't stop. Keep on shooting till I fall down. So that's what he did. That's why there are so many arrows in his body. He didn't die still. He only fell down. After that he was there for 52 days. I think 52 or something. So you can imagine what kind of person he was. If you get one pin in your body, you cannot sleep. And he was giving pravachan. Every day he spoke for more than a month. He lectured on every topic under the sun. If you read Mahabharata, there is nothing he did not touch on. It's very amazing. So here Krishna's secret is being revealed. As Bhishma revealed the secret of his own death, Krishna is revealing the secret of his own bondage. So he is the one who gives mukti to everybody. He is called Mukunda, Muktim Dadati iti Mukunda. And now he is giving the secret of how you can bind the Mukunda, how you can bind me, who releases the bondage of everyone else. So this is the meaning of Evam Sandarshita hi anga Harina Bhritya Vashyata. That he has, who is called Hari, who takes away Hari Harti Papani, who takes away everybody's sins, who steals the heart of his devotees. He is getting bound. And Swabhavikyeva Swasya Samyak Darshita. So this Bhakta Vashyata is not something which is imposed on him, but who is naturally like that. So, Tulasi Dal Matrena Jalasya Chulkenava. So he sells himself just by little offering. Patram Pushpam Thalam Phalam Toyam Yume Bhaktya Parayachati. So that is the secret, but it has to be with bhakti. Bhaktya uprihitam, ashnami prayat. It has to be bhaktya uprihitam, and bhaktya given with devotion, brought with devotion. Otherwise, you can give him the best food as Arjuna arranged, Duryodhana arranged, and he doesn't care. So the real thing which controls therefore is Bhakta Vashyata Bhakti. So Swabhaviki eva, this is his Swarupa, this is his nature, this is his Swabhava, that's what he is. So Swasya Samyak Darshita, Sandarsita. Sandarsita means Samyak Darshita. He has demonstrated it without any confusion, doubt or clarity. Everything is straightforward, clear, that this is the formula. So therefore, if there is anything to be acquired, that is this bhakti, this prema. Tasyeva heto pratet kovido na labhyate brahmitam upuriyadha. So tallabhyate dukhvad anyat. So this is the only thing we should work for, we should pray for, we should aspire for, endeavor for, because this is the highest purushartha, something which can be achieved. Everything else doesn't have much value. So ajnan prati darshanaya upyoga bhavat. So there is no point in showing this to those who are ignorant, because they will not understand. They will only find fault. How can he be God? What kind of God is he? He was stealing, he was breaking pot, he was getting angry, he got bound. How can he be God? So this God cannot be understood. Actually, he is not God. He is only rasa, rasa vaisa. So therefore he says ajnan prati darshanaya upyoga bhavat. So showing this to ignorant or explaining this to ignorant people has no meaning. Brahma bhava sanat kumaradin vijyanapi ati chamatkaram prapaya anubhavita iti. So those people who are born from Brahma, such as Sanat Kumar, etc., who are the most learned people, so even they are amazed to hear this. Ati chamatkaram prapaya anubhavita. So this is actually to tell them that you think you are jnanis, you are great, you get angry on devotees. This is the value of devotee. So don't be proud, because agyas, ignorant people, will not understand. They do not have the brain to understand it. But people like Sanat Kumara, they will understand the value of it. Only such people can appreciate. Sukadeva Goswami himself was Atmarama. So he could appreciate. Grihita Chaita Rajarsai Akhyānandam idam adhitavan. So he is Grihit Chaita. His heart was captivated by this kind of story. Kamva dayalum sharanam bharjena. When he heard these slokas, then he said, oh, there is something beyond this Gyan, Brahman. So then he ran to his father, please teach me this. So that is the, otherwise he left home. Anupetam upeta krityam virakatar dvapayano ajuha putreti tanmayata tarvo bhinena. So same person came back. Why? Because seeing this. So only people like him can appreciate this. So dharma projita kaituvatra parmo nirmatsaranam satam. Only those who are nirmatsara and sata, they will get the real understanding of this Bhagavad. So Sukadeva was like that. He was nirmatsara. There is no possibility of nirmatsara. Stripum Vedam, he did not know. So Risham Manuyantam api gopya paridadhur nasutasya chitram. So Purchati Manu Jagdavta Vasti Stripum Vedanata Sutasya. Vivikta Drishte. He was Vivikta Drishta. He was qualified to understand it. He was not having raga or dvesha for anything. That is the meaning of Nirmatsara. So when you rise above that raga and dvesha, then you understand what is Bhagavatam. That's why Gyanis don't, these so-called Gyanis, they don't understand. They try to pull it down and apply it on Brahman. So that is the greatness of this book. So it says Brahma Bhava Sanat Kumaradin. Such great personalities as Sanat Kumara. So they can know, because they will be completely astonished to hear this. This Bhagavatam is a book which is transcendental. And Sanat Kumara, Sukadeva, they were situated on transcendental platform. So they were able to capture it. They were able to get to the depth of it, to get the meaning of it. So that is why he says, Evam Sandarshita. This is the meaning of Sandarsita, Samyak Darshita. So Prapaya Anubhavita. They actually got the experience of it. Samyak Darshita means to actually have an experience of it. Darshan is not just seeing with the eyes. Darshan means Atmavare Drashtavya Shrotavya Mantavya Nididhyasitavya. So this darshan means to have an experience of it. Anubhav. So to have that anubhav, one has to become free from matsarya, nirmatsara, sata, karunya hirde. So that is the significance of the word sandarsita. Evam sandarsita yanga harina bhritya vashyata. So bhritya vashyata, how person like him got controlled, got bound. Neidam anukaran matratvena vyakhyayam. And one should not think that he was only imitating it. This is another thing. That he was just acting like that. No, it is not acting like that. He was actually angry. He was actually fearful. He was actually running out of fear. These are his own emotions. This is not that he is like a film actor, that he was just doing it, but inside he knows that, actually I am Ishvara, nobody can bind it. No. It's actual. It's a real thing. So that's the beauty of this. So this is what has to be heard, understood. So, Yattuttam Sloka Gunanuvada Sangiyate Bhikshnam Amangalagna Tameva Nityam Shunyada Bhikshnam Krishnayam Lam Bhaktim Abhipsamana. So this is what we have to hear again and again if you want Amala Bhakti, pure devotion to Krishna. Because this is Amangalagna. This is what destroys all amangala, all inauspiciousness. Because what is inauspiciousness? All these material attachments, kam, krodh, this is all inauspicious. So it gets destroyed because once you hear this, you understand it. Who wants that? And if one wants that, means one has not understood it. It's as simple as that. If you understand it, if this can touch your heart, then people who are working so hard to give up kama, krodha, lobha, they don't touch it. So yattu uttama sloka gunanuvada tadeva ramyam ruchiram navam tadeva sasvan manaso mahotsavam tadeva shokarnava shoshanam nranam yad uttama sloka yashona giyate. So this Uttam Sloka Yasha, this just by hearing it, this is the Mahotsava. This is the festival. Ramyam Ruchiram, this is the Ruchir, this is the beauty, this is the most delectable thing. And Navam, it is always new, always fresh. You cannot get bored about it. Otherwise, Charvita Charvananam, the material world, chewing the chewed, the same garbage all the time. People are enamored out of avidya. So this is the Mahotsava, this for the mind. Shokarna Shoshanam, this ocean of grief, which everybody is drowning in that. So when we will cross over that again. That is the Uttam Sloka. Yasha. So that Yasha is coming from Yashoda. Right? Uttam Sloka Yasho Nagiyata. So from where he gets his Yasha? His fame from Yashoda. So Yasha Dadati ti Yashoda. One who gives fame to Krishna, that is Yashoda. Krishna is famous because of this. Not because he killed this, he killed that, but he got bound by Yashoda's love. So that's why she is called Yashoda. So naidam anukarana matratvena vyakhyayam. Therefore it should not be explained that it is some sort of acting or imitation or anything like that. So this is there in Bhagavatam itself, it will come in the next 11th chapter. Darshyan tadvidam loke atmano bhaktavashyatam vrajasya vahava vaiharsham bhagavan balacheshtitaihi. So Bhagavan balacheshtitaihi vrajasya harsam vai uvaha. By his Bala Leela, by his childhood activities, he carried the pleasure of the Brajvasis. As if he was having big bag of happiness on his hand, which he was giving to Brajvasis. Vrajasya vaha vai harsham. It's like in the villages still in India, sometimes people come keeping one basket on their head and selling things. Now of course they have these rahadis, previously they only had the basket. So like that he is carrying the harsha. Vaha means carrying up. So vaha, vahana, bahana, autobahn. It's dhatu vaha. So vrajasya vaha vai harsham bhagwan balacheshtitai. And what did he? Darshayans tad vidam loke atmano bhakta vasyatam. That he showed again the same word. He says bhakta vasyatam atmana. That how he is controlled. So he showed this tad vidam. Of course, those only who understand it. Those who know what is bhakti, they understand. They will understand. Iti atra tad vidam iti prayogat iti bhava. Not others. Others will not understand. Swavashena api, swavashena swadhinena api. Swavashena api, although he is swadhina, swatantra, swarata. So, janmadashyato anvedat, itarataschartheso bhigya swarat. He is swarat. He is swatantra. Swadhina means under his own control. He is not under the control of anything else. There is nothing above him. Na tat samascha adhikasya drishyate. There is nothing equal to him or above him. He is supreme. So that is the person who comes. Nanu tarhi kutaha swadhinatvam. So he says, what is his swadhina, what is his independence if he is being bound by a woman here in Gopi? So tatraha yasya iti. So that is also being described. He says, don't think that he is just ordinary person, because this is the tendency. These are the part people forget. Yasya idam seshwaram vashe. Idam means this idam jagat, including the controllers of this jagat. They are all under his control. They have no chance to come even 100 meters near to him. So Shakti Sara Bhutene Premna Eva Tasya Ananda Atishaya अर्थमेव भक्तवश्यत्वं निष्पाद्यते इति प्राक् प्रपञ्चितम्. So this prema is the only thing which controls him, and this prema is Chit Shakti Sarabhuta. This is the essence of Chit potency. So it is not material. This is not material love. Tasya ananda atishaya arthamev. So this brings him supreme pleasure. Becoming controlled by his devotee brings him bliss. He is so much blissful by that. When you love somebody, you feel happy being controlled by that person. So therefore it says, Tasya ananda atishayarthameva bhaktavashyatvam nispadate. So this prema is that which brings him under the control of his devotee. And why? For his pleasure. He is pleased and devotee is also pleased. So this is how their ananda goes on increasing. They relish that with each other. So that is very wonderful sloka. Yes.
I have one question. Like here, Krishna is fasting with Yashoda, so Yashoda is the devotee, Vatsalya also. But if we see that Ramayana and when Shri Ram is going around with Lakshman for searching Sita, so he is crying and he is actually asking that he, but he is also crying. So those emotions are also like, it is a real emotion, like here it said it is not some Anukaran, like it's not some acting.
Yeah,
It is real emotions. So that is also real.
Yes. There is no acting.
There it is not any devotee, so it is like Sita.
Sita is not devotee. So what is she? She is non-devotee.
Well, she is the wife, so only by good money.
Okay. Anything else?
Namaste, Pranam.
Yes.
May I ask a question from the last class?
Yes.
In the last class, I think you explained like two fingers, what is the meaning of those two fingers. So I had a question on that, so especially the grace of Krishna. So, for example, there is a vidhi, for example, in Bhakti-rasamrita, the vidhi is that Guru Pada Asha Tasmat Shiksha Diksha, etc. If a devotee actually does that, if a disciple actually does that properly, and Shraddha in the Shastra, then because it is written in the Shastra that if bhakti is done, one will get the result of bhakti, which is prema. So the question is that how can one say that Krishna is actually giving the mercy later? I mean, Shastra and Guru itself is the grace of Krishna, right? So here it seems that those who have been fortunate to come across Bhagavatam hearing from a Guru, that itself it would mean that Krishna has already given the mercy. The next step is just for people to kind of follow it properly.
So what is the question? I didn't get your question.
So the question is like, so this mercy is given right at the beginning, not at the end, I would imagine.
Yeah, but mercy is not that it is given once and that's it.
Okay.
If Yashoda is getting mercy now, that means he didn't have it before.
The question arises that why would he give mercy later? Because if one follows the Shastra, one will get the result.
Yeah, but what is the mercy you are talking about?
Prema.
Yeah, prema is there. She already has prema, but now he is giving the prema in the form of becoming controlled.
Mm-hmm.
Prema has so many different types of manifestations.
Okay.
So much variety in it. Yes. Okay, Ladli, you.
So, Babaji, how do we know if we can speak about Krishna to someone?
How can you know?
Is there, because, you never know. I mean, if you start talking about Krishna's quality, Krishna Kata, how the person will react. So, is there some hint or some, just to take the temperature to know if, oh no, with this person I shouldn't talk about it, but there's something maybe if I discuss about that, it can,
Well, generally you talk to devotees, you don't talk to just some street guy about Krishna. So those who are interested in hearing, you talk to them.
But sometimes there are some people, they are in spiritual circles, they are not devotees, but then you talk and...
Yeah, so if they are interested in hearing, then you can talk. If you think that they want to hear, then you can talk, otherwise there is no need. Because why you speak to people who are not interested in hearing? If you are not interested in hearing and I start telling you, then you will feel irritated. Right?
Well, no, for me it's okay, it's fine.
No, it's not okay. I'm saying, suppose you are not interested in hearing about something and somebody wants to give a lecture to you on that topic.
Yes, sure.
So that's the same way, everybody is not interested in hearing about Krishna. So you have to see if they are interested. If they are not interested, you talk something else which would interest them. And then you can gradually bring them to hear. You have to create interest. If they are not interested, then create interest in them. So that is the expertise of the speaker, how create interest in the audience to hear. If they are not interested, best is that the audience is interested. Then you have no problem, then you talk. But if they are not interested, then you have to speak so that they get interested. Otherwise, don't talk.
I wanted to ask on this topic of that Krishna is not acting, but that he is really feeling these emotions. So his eyes were, and he was trembling, and Yashoda was there with the stick. So I would imagine that if he has this experience of fear when he sees Yashoda in this mood and he sees the stick, then he must have had some experience of being beaten or right? I mean, somehow.
I mean, he knows what it means to get beaten.
So this means that before he had it. I mean, this happened to him before, or
not
did you just
necessarily.
observe,
I mean, you see someone else getting beaten up. Somebody is hitting a bull or a cow or a dog, and they see that it's crying. You also fall down, or something hits you, then you say, well, this is not so pleasurable.
I guess I'm wondering that.
I mean, children, when they're not beaten at all, when the first time you try to them, don't they get fear?
I'm not so sure.
Try it.
I mean, we see that, for example, some monkeys or so, they are afraid of a stick. Even though they had never experienced a stick, I suppose, but they somehow get it, inherited, right? But what about humans like us with these kind of experiences? He must have some. Okay, my question is this: that Yashoda, she saw he's scared and then she gave up. But does it imply that previously she did not give up, or?
Previously means?
in other instances to create the samskara of, oh my god, this hurts, I don't want
And
this.
I'm saying
this reminds
it's
me.
not that she has beaten him before. I'm not saying that. But as you yourself are saying, monkeys are also scared of a stick, but that doesn't mean that they have been beaten by stick. But they have. So of course you can say, well, they must have been beaten in their past life, and they're carrying the samskara. So we all have experience of pain and pleasure here in the material world. Now it doesn't mean that pain and pleasure of that particular thing only, and then only you are going in a car, you have never had an accident, but still you have a fear of making an accident. Does it mean that I have made an accident, that's why I am fearing it? Does it really mean that? Or you want to jump from the roof and only when you have jumped once and experienced it? So we get knowledge from Shabda, we get knowledge from Anuman, and we get knowledge from Prataksha. So now what you are saying is that the knowledge comes only by Prataksha Praman. That's your assumption. But that's not true. You may have experienced one type of problem, and from that you can make inference of another type of problem.
I think it's just so interesting to think of Krishna who actually doesn't have any problems, and for him everything is a play. Some, Asura is coming and he just happily kicks him away with his foot, or gets a ride and goes up into the sky when Trunavata comes, and
So that is always Aishwarya Shakti manifesting.
Yeah.
That's why you have to keep this thing very clear and distinct. And that's where the difficulty comes, because we know that Krishna is God. Yashoda did not know this, and Krishna himself did not know this. So they didn't have this question or this problem. So therefore they acted the way that it is being described. But the thing is that he also has these powers inside which automatically become manifest when there is a need for them. This is what the commentators are explaining. It becomes manifest. Otherwise, he has his own abhiman. So just like we have our identity, and we may have some powers inside us which we do not know. And if we do not know, then we don't identify with those powers. So therefore you will not act. If you have to make use of that power to do something, you won't act it. Because you are not identifying it, you don't have that abhiman or that kind of identity. So Krishna is also like that. He has got powers inside, but he is not having abhiman of that. But they become manifest, and at that time if he has abhiman about it, it stays temporarily, then it goes away. His abhiman is that he is Nanda Maharaj, Yashoda's son, is a coward boy. That's his abhiman. That's his identity. That's what he thinks of himself. He's not thinking I'm Sarveshwara. If he was thinking like that, he is not going to run away. He says, what? Nobody can hit me. He will kick them away, just like he did with Trinavarta or Saktasvara.
Dear Babaji Maharaja, Namo Namo, I had a question related to this story. So, can it be said that from the pedagogical perspective, physical punishment could be an option?
Could be a?
Could be an option.
Option? Option for what?
For making a child understand that particular behavior or act is not correct.
Yes, sometimes you have to do that. See, you have to have a balance in life. The problem comes when things become imbalanced. So some people go too much into punishment that they scare the child completely. So then the growth of the child is stunted. Then you go to the other extreme, that you don't discipline them, give them complete freedom. Now they are saying don't even tell them their gender. They should decide it themselves. So you go from one extreme to another extreme. So both are problems. So what Krishna says is that samatvam yoga uchyate. That yoga is samatva, balanced state of life. Everywhere he is saying this. Yukta har viharascha, yukta chestasya karmas, yukta swapna bodhasya yoga bhavati dukkha. So you have to be yukta, means balanced. So too much of freedom or too much of restriction, both create problem. Spare the rod and spoil the child. That's one saying in English, right? You heard of it? No?
Vaguely, I don't think so.
Spare the rod and spoil the child. So that means complete freedom. So then he is also spoiled. Then the person will become narcissist. Because he thinks that I am the boss. I can do anything. But then later on he will have problem in life. In your house, maybe parents allow you to do whatever you do, but you're not going to remain in your house all the time. Then you go out and you are going to act like that, and everybody will try to kick you. Then you feel frustrated. But now that becomes your mode of operation. Or you completely suppress them. So then they become scared. So it has to be balanced. And therefore, Chanakya Pandit writes in his Niti sloka, Lalayet panchavarshani, 10 varshani tu tadiyet, prapte tu shodase varse, putram mitravad acharet. So you fondle, treat nicely for 5 years, then 5 to 10, or for next 10 years, you discipline. Now discipline does not mean beating all the time like you're beating some donkey. No, he's your child. The discipline is only for his or her benefit, not out of anger or frustration. And then once somebody is 16, then treat them like a grown-up person. So different ages you have to treat differently.
Thank you very much.
Anything else?
Is about the root cause of the end. Since it's such a big problem, there is clarification which is completely needed.
And root cause of envy is attachment to our own body, ultimately. And then when we are attached to our own body, which means attached to my material pleasures, and then I see somebody else enjoying more than me, having more than me, and then I become envious, I become jealous, I want to pull them down. But if you understand that everybody has got their own karma and their own purushartha, and they're getting result because of their own karma and their own activity, so if I want something, then I should also work hard and not be envious of others. So, but because we have our own ahankara, we cannot tolerate somebody being better than us. So then this nature comes. They're all interrelated.
Yeah, Babaji, may I ask one more question?
Yes, please.
In a couple of verses before, there was a mention of 2 fingers. That one represented the constant effort, and the second one, kripa. So I had a question regarding this effort. In the case of an ordinary sadhaka, does this effort depend on one's shraddha? Because this firm resolution to perform sadhana and to offer something to Bhagavan may be also dependent on something else. So in the case not of Yashoda, but an ordinary jiva, what is the basis for this resolution and effort?
Well, Shraddha is the basis of everything in any field. If you don't have Shraddha, why would you work hard in that field? People have Shraddha in money, in dollars, so therefore they work hard for that. So, Shraddha mayo ayam purushayo Shraddha saeva. You are made of Shraddha, and your personality, your activities, they emanate from that. So Shraddha is the basis, and then from that things flower. You become staunch when you are more clear about things. Then Shraddha becomes more fixed, and then you become very resolved, then you act. Without Shraddha it does not happen. If you don't have Shraddha, why would you put your effort in anything? Any field in which you don't have Shraddha, why would you make an effort in that?
Also related to this, you spoke about the hard effort, no? And that this is the key, and that one has to sweat, and this limit, this personal limit, is something, I guess, very personal. So one person may, what person A can do before breakfast, other person cannot do the entire day. And I would be interested, could you maybe give the symptoms of when am I at my limit? How can I know that this is what I'm capable of?
Well, just like if you eat, so everybody has got their own limit, how much you can eat and digest it. So if you eat and after eating, then you feel so sluggish that you don't feel like doing anything. That means you have overeaten, right? So same if you sleep and when you wake up, then you're still tired and you have no energy. That means you didn't have enough sleep. If you oversleep, then also it will happen. Same if you are working and you work beyond your capacity and after that you are so tired, then next day you don't feel like doing it. Because your body has some energy, some reserves are there, so maybe you can do it for a few days, but after that you are so tired that if you have to drive to your job, you fall asleep. You are in one lane and then you wake up, you are in another lane. So that means you are over endeavoring. You need proper rest, proper food, proper diet. So you have to know that.
So basically the key seems to be to keep in mind that this is a
Means you can do it every day.
marathon,
Yeah.
not a sprint.
Yeah. If you can do something every day, 7 days a week, then that is normal. That means you are working with your capacity which you can handle. But if you work 3 days and then you need to sleep for 3 days. There was one devotee here, he was always getting up 9 o'clock, 8 o'clock. So, you know that in my ashram here I have no rule. You can wake up and sleep whenever you want, There's no restriction. So one day I asked him that, why you wake up so late? So he says, when I was in the Gurukula, I did not get enough sleep. So now this is a crazy thing, He was in Gurukula some 4 years ago, so now he is catching up the sleep now. So that's just an excuse, How is it possible that your body could run so many years and now it is catching on the sleep? So this is people also like to rationalize their behavior.
I had a question which was in the same topic as Kamala asked. about because you were saying that for Nirmatsara one has to go beyond Ragadvesha, which is then actually.
Can you
like,
speak a little louder?
Sorry, which is then to go to be Nirmatsara, one has to go beyond Ragadvesha, which is then actually the like and dislike, and from what
Not like, dislike, but actually more like attachment and hatred. Like, dislike, everybody will have. But here Ragadvesha means that you have attachment and you have hatred.
So I can understand this, that I go beyond, that I am not envious if I don't have attachment, that it's quite easy to follow, but to go, to not to be, but with the hatred, I'm not able to make this direct.
No, you hate
connection.
somebody who is better than you.
That actually is then just my attachment to be like that, right? So because
Yeah.
it's the other side of the
Yeah,
coin.
they're just two sides of the same coin. They go together.
It's mainly the.
If you have attachment, you have hatred also. If you have hatred, you also have attachment.
Could one say that attachment comes first before hatred?
And they're together. They may not manifest. You see, Sattva, Rajas, Tamas, they're all there, but they're not manifest. We studied in Sankhya Karika that there is a man, so he may love one woman. So at that time, the love is manifest for this woman and hatred is manifest for another woman. Then it can change, right? It happens all the time. Then the woman whom he was loving, now there is hatred for that and love for the other one. So it just, they become manifest, but they're there. Okay. So we'll stop.